Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on heat transfer. In our previous lecture, we have completed transient heat conduction, and in our today's lecture, we are going to begin a new chapter which is heat transfer through extended surfaces. So before we begin our new chapter, we will quickly go through the topics that we have studied in our previous lecture as a part of revision. So in last two lectures, we studied about transient heat conduction. The meaning of transient here is that the temperature is now dependent on time. During our previous chapter, which was steady state heat conduction, in that chapter we were assuming that temperature is independent of time, but now in case of transient heat conduction, now temperature is dependent on time, and the same thing is written over here. There are two types of change in temperature during unsteady state. That is, first is periodic variation, which happens in repeated cycles, and second is non-periodic variation, in which the temperature is some non-linear function of time. And this was our major theory for this chapter, that is transient heat conduction in solids with infinite thermal conductivity, which is also known as lump parameter analysis. So in this case, we were assuming that the thermal conductivity of the material is infinitive. The meaning is that the thermal resistance due to conduction is minimum. So the entire heat transfer phenomena is governed only by convective resistance. So here, because there is no role of conduction, here we are assuming that temperature is not function of the space coordinates x, y and z. Here the temperature is only function of time. And this was the arrangement that we took, and later on we derived this formula, which is the temperature distribution in non-dimensional form for K tends to infinitive material. And we discussed about few important points about the effect of this parameter HA upon rho Vc on heating and cooling of body when K tends to infinitive. And we also equate it with RC circuit. And based on this term, which is HA upon rho Vc, we defined two dimensionless numbers. Okay, first we will see this characteristic length L for sphere, cylinder and cube, and the first dimensionless vector, which is alpha tau divided by L square, is known as Fourier's number FO, and the second dimensional number is known as Biot's number, which is HL by K. So here we modified this equation HA upon rho Vc with these two dimensionless numbers. So now the temperature distribution is based on only two parameters, which is first is Biot number and second is Fourier's number. and instantaneous heat flow rate calculation is done based on this formula, which is equivalent to mc delta T, and we put the temperature profile here, and thus we derive the formula, and the total heat flow rate is obtained in this way. There are two definitions which are important: time constant and response of thermocouple. Then the next definition was sensitivity of thermocouple. And then we took a different case. Rather than taking infinite thermal conductivity in solids, we took the finite conductive and convective resistance. And I gave you this part as a self-study because here this entire theory is based on the various graphs which are available in the book. So this was all about end of transient heat conduction. This was done in our last 2 lectures. And now we are going to begin our new chapter. That is heat transfer through extended surfaces. Okay, so if you see all our previous lecture, that we have already finished 7 total lectures in our this lecture series of heat transfer. So as I have been mentioning that each lecture constitutes or weights 2 different lectures. So our total 7 videos, previous 7 videos are total 14 lectures as per our syllabus. So before we move forward into our new chapter, we will quickly go through our syllabus, that how much we have already finished in our last 7 videos, that is 14 lectures. So this is our syllabus as per the university. In which we started with this conduction. Okay, and let me tell you, wherever I have used the term steady state heat conduction, it is part of this conduction. Okay, the first part which is here, that is conduction, is actually the steady state heat conduction that we have already completed, and in our previous 2 lectures we have finished transient heat conduction that we have already revised few minutes ago, and now we are beginning this chapter, heat transfer from extended surfaces. This will also take 2 videos in this series. So with this entire serial number 1, that is whole chapter number 1, we will have total 9 videos, which will be in total 18 hours, 18 lectures. Okay, and once we finish this part, in our next 2 lectures we will shift to convection part, which is also one of the very important part. And if you see, this part is having the highest weightage in the whole syllabus. Okay, so after that we are going into convection. And hopefully once we finish convection, rather than going into radiation, we will move forward with 4th chapter, which is heat exchanger. And once we finish heat exchanger, then we will start radiation, and after that we will see our last lecture, last topic, that is 2-phase heat transfer. So this is the way in which we are going to deal with this subject. That is, first we will finish conduction, then convection, then heat exchanger, then radiation, and at the end the 2-phase heat transfer. Okay, so in this way we are going to work for subject of heat transfer. So let's begin our new chapter. that is heat transfer through extended surfaces. So sometimes we often intend to improve heat dissipation from a surface to its surrounding. Now in our previous chapter of steady state heat conduction, we were studying one part which was insulation, and general purpose of insulation is to prevent the transfer of heat from the system to surrounding. So generally what happens that we demand that the heat should not leave the system and it should be maintained within the system. However, there are some cases in which we actually require that heat should be dissipated as early as possible or as soon as possible. Let us take an example of a two-wheeler in which, because of the working of IC engine, the outer part of this engine gets heated and the temperature is very high, and if that is not cooled, then it can damage the material of the covering of that engine. So that is one of the examples in which we require that heat should be dissipated from the surface to its surrounding as quickly as possible. So as you all are aware that this heat transfer depends on the Newton-Raphman law, that is based on the convection, and its formula is given by Q is equal to HA delta T, that reveals that the convective heat flow Q can be enhanced by increasing the film coefficient H, surface area A, and temperature difference T minus TA. So let us focus on this formula first. That the formula is Q equal to H A T minus TA. So that is the same formula, Newton-Raphman law. So if we focus, we can write down this formula in different way, that Q is proportional to H, Q is also proportional to A, and Q is also proportional to T minus TA. So as we have written here that we intend to improve the heat dissipation from surface to surrounding. So our goal is to increase the value of Q. Okay. So for that purpose, what we can do, we can either increase the heat transfer coefficient H. So this can be achieved in different ways. H can be increased. Second way is capital A can be increased, and third possible way is T minus TA, that can be increased. So mathematically these are three possible ways in which we can increase the heat transfer rate Q. Now we will see that how we can improve these three values one by one. First is H, that is heat transfer coefficient or film coefficient, is a function of geometry, fluid properties and flow rate, and control of H through this parameter helps to obtain the optimum value. Okay, so that is one way we can improve the value of H and subsequently the value of Q, that is heat transfer. Now the second way in which we can improve the heat transfer is temperature difference, that is this portion T minus TA. Okay, now it is difficult to control as it depends on the environment and heated body. So now why it is difficult to control? So here if you see, it depends on T and TA. Now what is T and TA? T is the temperature of the hot body from which we are supposed to dissipate the heat, and TA is the environmental temperature. So these two are the things which are already coming through the heat transfer. That is, suppose we are having a two-wheeler and we are running it at a 40 km per hour. So based on our speed and the condition of engine, this term will get heated. This will increase. We cannot control this parameter because it is based on the outcome of the functioning of engine. And TA is the environmental temperature, and obviously we cannot control the environmental temperature. So these two terms or these two temperatures are very difficult to control. So the overall term T minus TA are not very easy to control, and these are beyond our control. Now the last option that remains to us is capital A, that is surface area. The surface area exposed to the surrounding is frequently increased by attachment of protrusions to the surfaces, and the arrangement provides the means by which the heat transfer rate can be substantially improved. So let me try to explain this with the help of a figure. Okay, so here $7,000. Okay, so now let us say that we are having a heated body. Let me draw one shape. Okay, so let us say that this is a wall which is being heated. Here, okay, so let us say that this body is at let us say 90 degrees Celsius, okay, and our objective is to cool down this as soon as possible. And what is the meaning of this protrusion? Let me come back here, that here I have written by attachment of protrusion to the surfaces. You can focus here that it is by the attachment of protrusion to the surfaces, okay. And now what they are trying to say here, that let us say that we need to improve this. So what we will do, that here we will provide additional surface over here that is coming out like this. This is just a very rough example to explain. Let us say we are having this kind of additional material that we have added to our hot body, okay. So what is happening right now, that previously the surface area was like this. The surface area was limited in this way. Our surface area was this before this additional part, and now what we have done is we have increased the surface area like this, okay. And because it is very long, the surface area is also very large because of this, okay. So this is the surface area that we have added. So our standard formula is Q is equal to HA T minus TA. So what we have done, we have focused on increasing capital A. That's why as we have added this surface area, the value of Q has also increased. Okay, so that is the point to explain you people, that here by attachment of protrusion to surfaces, the heat transfer rate can be substantially improved. The protrusions are also called as fins or spines. Okay, so let's move forward. So these are the different types of fins. First is a straight fin, that is now currently focus on figure A and B. The straight fin is an extended surface attached to a plane wall. That is, this is the plane wall. This is the plane wall and this is the attachment. And the cross-sectional area of the fin may be uniform or it may vary with the distance from the wall. So here the cross-sectional area is uniform, that is constant throughout. And here if you see in the second figure, here in first figure it is constant. And here as we move away, the cross-sectional area decreases. Please note down, whenever I have written C/S, it means it is the cross-sectional area. So it may be uniform or it may vary with the distance from the wall. Now the third type, which is C. Annular fins are attached circumferentially. As you can see over here, it is attached circumferentially to a cylindrical surface. That is, our heated body is this, and we have added this circumferentially. And their cross-sectional area varies with the radius from the center of the cylinder. Why it is like that? Because if you see, here the area is different. As we move away, the area increases and further it keeps on increasing. And here it is maximum. So that is the meaning of this statement, that their cross-sectional area varies with radius from center line of the cylinder. And the last type is, okay, first still we are discussing this part. Both straight fin and annular fins are of rectangular cross section and can be expressed as a product of thickness delta and width b, and that is for straight fin. And in second case, that is in such kind of case, we can have 2 pi r for annular fins. So here what it is trying to say, that this distance will be b and this distance will be delta. Okay, so once we multiply them, we will be getting the cross sectional area, and here we will be getting 2 pi r. Okay, in case of pin, fin or spine, that is the last one, it is extended surface of a circular cross section, that is this, and it may be uniform or it may be non-uniform. The spine represents a thin cylinder or a conical rod protruding from the wall. So in this case it is a conical type, as its cross-sectional area is decreasing as we move away from this heated surface, and if we keep a simple constant area, then it will be a cylinder. Okay. Now application of faint surfaces. First is economizers from steam power plant, convectors for steam and hot water heating system, air-cooled cylinders of aircraft engine, IC engines and air compressors, electrical transformers and motors. Fifth one is cooling coils and condenser coil in refrigerators and air conditioners, and electrical equipment, that is the last application. Okay. Now we are going into our main theory of this chapter and the governing theory of this chapter, which is steady flow of heat along the rod. Now if you recall our previous chapter, it was transient heat conduction, but here it is clearly written that we are having steady flow of heat. That is, we are not going to consider the dependence of temperature on time. So this is completely separate from our previous chapter, that is transient heat conduction. So you should return into our steady state heat conduction part, and based on that only we are going to derive this theory. And this is also known as governing differential equation for fin. So first of all we need to focus on this figure, in which first let us focus over here on this first figure, in which here, okay, there is a correction here in previous theory, I think it is over here. No. In previous theory I told that this is the width B and this is the thickness delta. Instead of that, here just wait. Here let me correct myself, that here I was telling you that this is the B and this is delta. That is incorrect actually. In this case this will be the width B and this will be the thickness delta. Actually this portion is called as length, that is the third dimension. So you can go back around 6 to 7 minutes back and you can correct it. Okay, so this will be the width and this will be the thickness. Okay, so let's return to our topic here. That is over here. Okay, now let us focus on this figure. Let me tell you that here this is our heated plate. Okay, this will be our heated plate that needs to be cooled as quickly as possible. And if you see here, it is written the temperature of this wall or heated wall is T0, and this is our straight fin of rectangular section. Okay, and this is the length of the fin. This will be B is the width of the fin and delta is the thickness of the fin. And if you see, if we take this small section, then the perimeter is 2 into B plus delta and cross sectional area is B into delta. So let us take this into our virtual board. that is in our paint. Okay, it is over here. So here if you see, you need to focus on few things. That is, first we are saying about this parameter, which is B. Okay, so this will be B, that is this line, and this is delta, that is this smallest length you see, that is this is delta. Okay, and if you see this into a two-dimensional form, sorry, if we see this into two-dimensional form, then it will be much easier for you to understand. So here it is, this is B and this is delta. So this is also B and this is the delta. So if we need to calculate the perimeter, then P is equal to 2B plus 2 delta, which is equal to 2 into B plus delta. Okay, so that is our perimeter, which is already written over here. And the cross sectional area for a rectangle is multiplication of two sides. So for that reason we will have AC is equal to multiplication of two sides, that is B into delta. Okay, now if we see the second figure, in this figure we are having a spine that is having a circular cross sectional area, and it is very similar to our previous figure. The only difference that we can observe here is the cross sectional area. In first figure it is rectangular one, and in the second figure it is a circular one. So here in a circular case, that is cross sectional area is circular. And here one more thing we should focus, that the temperature of the wall is T0 and the temperature of surrounding is TA. The length of the fin remains L. The diameter of this cylinder is D. Perimeter is equal to pi into D, and cross sectional area is pi by 4 d square, that is already well known, that is the area of a circle. Okay, so this is the way. So let me again write down here, P will be equal to the circumference of the circle, that is pi into d, and second is AC is equal to pi by 4 d square. Okay, so better you should remember these things very carefully. Okay, so let's go back into our presentation. Okay, so consider a straight rectangular fin or a pin fin protruding from a wall surface. The characteristic dimensions of fin are its length, that is L, constant cross sectional area AC, and circumferential parameter P. If you see both our figures, then we are having constant cross sectional area. So what I would suggest you, what I would suggest you to pause this video over here, and you should draw both these figures in your notebook right now, and once you finish you can play this video again so that it will be easier for you to understand the derivation of this theory. So here, as I have already explained, for rectangular fin, the cross-sectional area AC will be B into delta, and perimeter P will be equal to 2 into B plus delta. And for spine, it will be pi by 4 d square and pi d respectively. Spine is nothing but cylindrical fin, you can say. And as you have already drawn in your notebook, that the temperature at the base of the fin is T0, and temperature of the ambient fluid into which the rod is extended is considered to be a constant temperature Ta. The base temperature T0 is highest, and the temperature along the fin length goes on diminishing. We will see this portion. The statement that is written over here, that the base temperature is highest and the temperature along the fin length goes on diminishing or reducing. So this is the figure on that. Here I think okay, I am not zooming this part, otherwise it will not be visible clear to you. So here this is the environmental temperature Ta, this much. That is the temperature of surrounding, that is, let us say 25 degrees Celsius. And this temperature is T0, that is the highest temperature that is of the surface. Okay, so the difference between these two, is this. That is T0 minus Ta, that is our difference. Okay, and it is maximum. So this if you see, focus on the bottom figure, that is this portion, then this is the figure of fin for a rectangular fin, that this is at the wall, that is at T0, that is highest temperature, that's why the difference is maximum over here. And as we move from left to right, the length is increasing. So as we move away from this heated wall, the temperature keeps on decreasing. This is our main curve. This is our main curve. As you can see here, that the temperature is diminishing. Okay, and the direction is this. Okay, now there are few assumptions that we need to take care. First is thickness of the fin is considered small, so delta is very low, okay, in comparison with length and width. So the temperature gradients over cross sectional area are neglected, and the heat conduction is treated in one dimensional, that is this direction only. Second is homogeneous and isotropic fin material. So thermal conductivity K of fin material is constant. Third is uniform heat transfer coefficient H over the entire fin surface. No heat generation within the fin itself. And here the joint between the fin and the heated wall offers no bond resistance, and the temperature at the root or base of the fin is uniform and equal to T0 of the wall. So they are talking about this portion, that suppose we are having in this way, so this portion will not offer any kind of thermal resistance to the transfer of heat. And the second thing that they have assumed here, that let us consider this to be a heated wall. Then this is considered to be at the same temperature. Okay. And there will be a negligible radiation exchange with surrounding, and if there are present, then radiation effects are considered as included in the convective heat transfer coefficient H. And obviously this is steady state heat conduction. Just wait for 30 seconds. So here now we will analyze that figure. Let me see if we can put it over there. Okay, so this will be helpful to us. Okay, so let's begin. So here the heat from the heated wall, is conducted through a fin and convected from the sides of fin to surrounding. So here you should be careful over here. There are two things which are happening. Let me draw it over here. So let us consider this to be our wall, and here we are having this as a fin. So what is happening here, that there are two types of conduction which are present in our case. First is conduction. Now it is the heat is conducted through the fin. Okay. So the conduction part will be this. I am mentioning them with this yellow arrows. That is the conduction part. And the next one is, it is convected from the sides of the fin to surrounding. So it will be this portion. Okay, so this will be the convection part. Okay, so there are two ways in which this is happening. First is conduction which is through the fin, and first is conduction which is through the fins, and second is convection which is through the surface to the surrounding, that is shown with this green lines. Okay, so let us focus on infinitesimal element of fin. So that is, they are focusing on this part. Okay, and the element has thickness delta x, that is written over here. I hope it is visible to you. This is delta x thickness, and is located at distance x from the wall. So that is at the distance of x from the wall. Okay. Let me erase this part. So heat is conducted into the element at plane x. So now they are focusing over here, and it is given by qx is equal to minus kac dt by dx at section x. Okay, so this much, or this location, if you see carefully, this location is at x. Okay, and if you recall, this is our standard Fourier's law. Second is heat conducted out of the element at plane x plus delta x, that is over here. So this location is actually called as x plus delta x. So same formula is there, and instead of t, here we can write down t plus dt by dx into delta x. This is the similar approach we used in our general heat conduction equation in Cartesian coordinates. So the heat convected out of the element between x and x plus delta x is given by this formula, h a delta t. This is nothing but h a delta t, and instead of a we have written perimeter into thickness. So once we multiply perimeter with thickness, we can get the total volume, total area, total surface area. So now the heat balance gives in this way, because if you recall, that element was like this. This was at x and this was at x plus delta x. So here this was the entry for qx, and this is the exit of q plus delta x, and here there is a convection which is exiting over here. So the entry is only done by qx and the exit is 2, that is x plus delta x and convection. So it is in this way. So now we have simply put those formulas, and upon rearrangement and simplification, which can be which you can do by yourself, we will obtain this formula, that is d2t upon dx square minus hp upon kac t minus ta equal to 0. It may be very slightly lengthy derivation for you people, or okay, so you should do it by yourself. So further simplification by transforming the dependent variable by defining the temperature axis theta as, so let us define theta. Theta is temperature axis, that is the difference between the current temperature at a particular location minus environmental temperature Ta. So we have defined a new term, theta x. So since the ambient temperature Ta is constant, we can obtain this formula, that previously okay, this is the first derivative of this formula, and this is the second derivative of this formula. Okay, it is quite straightforward. If you differentiate both sides by dx, and you can differentiate it for second time, then you will get the second equation. So here what is happening, that for this equation we can write down d2 theta over dx square minus m square, and we have already defined t minus ta as theta, that is m square theta equal to 0. So here m square, instead of m we have taken hp upon kac. The above two equations, that is which two equations? This bold equations. First is this and second is this. These two equations provide general form of energy equation for one-dimensional heat conduction, heat dissipation from an extended surfaces. Now m is constant provided that convective film coefficient H is constant over the entire surface and thermal conductivity K is constant within the considered temperature range. Now the solution is given by this formula because the formula is linear homogeneous second order differential equation, so we can get this kind of answer. This is based on mathematics only, okay, which you might have studied in your previous year. And C1 and C2 are to be determined with the aid of relevant boundary conditions. So now we are into our last theory, in which we are considering heat dissipation from an infinitely long fin, that is L tends to infinity. So when L tends to infinity, the relevant boundary conditions are, first condition is temperature at the base of the fin equals to the temperature of surface to which the fin is attached. So T is equal to T0, that is the wall temperature at x equal to 0, and that is quite obvious that at x equal to 0 at the beginning, the temperature of the fin is equal to the base temperature of the wall. And in terms of excess temperature, what we have done, you can focus on this formula and we will subtract both the sides with TA. So T minus TA is nothing but theta, and T0 minus TA is equal to theta x at x equal to 0. Now the second condition is, or boundary condition is, temperature at the end of infinitely long fin equals to that of surrounding. So let us say that here this is our wall and the fin length, that is this, is infinitely long. So this length is infinitive. So in such case, what will happen at this point, which is very very far from the wall, then T will be approximately or almost equal to TA. So T is equal to TA at x tends to infinity, and so theta will be 0, because if you follow the same way that deduct both the sides from TA, then we will obtain this formula, okay. So theta is equal to 0 at x equal to infinity. The substitution of this boundary conditions gives this formula, that is, see, our standard equation is this: C1 e raised to mx plus C2 e raised to minus mx equals to T minus TA. Okay, just okay, that is theta. So here C1 e raised to mx plus C2 e raised to minus mx is equal to theta, okay. So if we apply the first boundary condition, that is x equal to 0, that is this, actually here it should be theta 0, not x, okay. So if we put x equal to 0, then the answer will be C1 plus C2 equal to theta 0. That is based on our first boundary condition, and based on this second boundary condition, it will be like this, that C1 e raised to m infinity plus C2 e raised to minus m infinity. So this term will automatically go to 0 because of e raised to minus infinity. and we are only left with this term which is equal to 0. So based on that, C1 can only be 0, so C1 is equal to 0 and C2 is equal to theta. Actually I have there is a mistake here. So we have obtained the values of C1 and C2. So putting the value of C1 and C2 in equation, we can obtain this kind of formula, that is theta is equal to theta 0 e raised to minus mx, and if we put it into temperature difference form, then theta is equal to T minus Ta, which is equal to T0 minus Ta e raised to minus mx. And figure shows the dependence of dimensionless temperature along the length of in for different values of m. So here you can see m3 is maximum, m2 is lesser than that, and m1 is minimum. So here the higher the value of m, the more quickly this temperature difference will come down. So the plot indicates that the dimensionless temperature falls more with increase in factor m, and with fin length extending to be infinity, that is x tends to infinity, all the curves approach 0 asymptotically. Okay, so if this length is infinite, then this temperature difference will reach almost 0. Okay, and we can have an estimate of heat flow rate that can be made by writing Fourier's equation corresponding to root section of the fin, that is given by this formula: Q fin is equal to minus k into cross sectional area into dt by dx at x equal to 0. From expression of temperature distribution, this is the formula: T is equal to Ta plus T0 minus Ta into e raised to minus mx. So we can differentiate it, and the final value, so this is at x equal to 0. So at x equal to 0, this term will be 1. So we are left with only remaining term, that is minus m into T0 minus Ta. So the value of Q, let me just remind you, in our previous slide, Q was minus k AC dt by dx into x equal to 0. So this is equal to minus k AC. Okay, and instead of this dt by dx, we have obtained this one, that is minus m T0 minus Ta. Okay, so this is nothing but k AC m T0 minus Ta, and the same formula is written over here also, as m is equal to square root of p into h divided by k AC. We can modify this equation and we can obtain this formula. Okay, so this is the end of today's lecture. We will quickly revise what we have done in today's lecture. So we have started this chapter with the introduction part, in which we found that increase in area can help us in dissipation of heat. These are 4 types of fin. Then applications. Then we started with the general theory of this chapter, that is governing differential equation. We obtained the cross sectional area and perimeter, and then these are the assumptions, and we took an elemental volume and applied the energy balance in this way. and we obtain the general equation for fin, and the solution is given by this formula, in which we took the first case, which is heat dissipation from an infinitely long fin, L tends to infinity. So based on these boundary conditions, we obtained the value of C1 and C2, and once we applied them, we obtained this temperature distribution, and this is the way we have obtained the value of Q. Okay, so this is end of today's lecture. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you.